Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So, I'm a transformation coach, I'm an energy healer, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I'm the spiritual head of the Transformation Center CT, which is based in Westport, Connecticut. At the center, we have a variety of offerings. We have workshops, trainings, different things, sometimes outdoors. Last summer, we had an outdoor sound bath, which was fabulous. So we hope to do that again. Whoever is available, I get them to come and share with you what they have to offer. Also, during the pandemic, we've been doing a lot on Zoom. So every month we have satsang, which is Sanskrit for in the company of the truth. And that is generally the third or fourth Wednesday of each month in the evening. And it's just an hour to spend with each other. And we have a beautiful guided visualization from my colleague and friend, Kathy Rada French. And then we also have chanting, which is all very uplifting, and Nalini leads us in the chanting. So we'd love for you to join us. And you can check out, I'm going to put up the website info for the Transformation Center. And this is our website. And you can contact us there at that email address or phone number. And the other thing we have every month is a Shamanic Clinic. And that is designed to just give you a little bit of an introduction to shamanism. And we do extraction healings on Zoom. It works great. And you can sign up for just a half an hour slot. So it's not a full shamanic session, but you get the idea, and you get the wonderful result from the extraction healing. And both of these events are community offerings, so there's no fee involved. I mean, there is, a gratitude offering if you want to do that, but it's not necessary. So anyway, check us out at transformationcenterct.com. Yeah, and so the Spiritual Connection Show is all about connection, right? What a surprise. I love connecting with other people, finding out what they're about, learning what they do, getting to know them. And so the show is an opportunity for you to do that as well. I have a different guest each week, and from their story, you can learn more about yourself. That's really the idea, to connect more fully with our own spiritual selves through hearing what other people have done on their journey. So I'm really excited tonight. My guest is Henry Kozuch. Welcome to the show, Henry.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. We haven't met yet in person, but I'm glad to meet you virtually. So I'm just going to put up a little bit about, I'm going to put up your slide with your contact info. And this is his, and you'll hear more about it, but he facilitates 2 meditation meetings weekly. One in New Milford, Connecticut, and one in Monroe, Connecticut. And gathered in the spirit of investigation, the group explores and remedies behaviors which cause suffering. So that sounds, like a really worthy thing to be doing. And I really salute you for helping other people do that. Yeah. So the first question that I always ask my guests, as you know, is can you tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey, your story, how you got here, that kind of thing? Anything you want to share?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me again. And I would say that I'm not unique with my spiritual journey insofar as, I really got to it with spirituality when I had that dark night, that really deep moment of questioning of who I was, where I was going, what it all meant. And it took a lot of pain to get to that point. And I hear a lot of times that people will say offhandedly, pain is a requirement for change and growth. And while I agree to a point, I mean, I needed a lot of pain to get to get on a path of spirituality, but I didn't require pain to keep happening for me to grow in spirituality. So I see a little bit of a difference in my experience there. So yeah, it just took a lot of pain to get there, It had to do with drug addiction, alcoholism, um, a marriage that fell apart, and then um, it was, I think it was a deep belief that I was a I was a good person at my core, and I just needed to figure out how to expose that, and that no matter what was happening in the world, that the majority of people I believed were good, and because those two things existed in me, that I believed really that I was a good person, and that other people, the majority of other people, were good people. Um, I was able to receive a lot of help and grow from there.
Oh, wow. That's terrific. No, that's so important to have that core belief, because I think a lot of us struggle with that when we've been hurt and gone through painful things to really believe that we're okay,
Yeah,
really embrace it and believe it.
yeah, yeah. I was so like confused by life that all of the things that had happened to me could have happened to me, um, and confused, not confused at why, but just overwhelmed by everything. That I just arrived at this thought like, wow, I haven't given myself a chance at all, and if I had a chance, I know that good things could happen, and so I really did need um, people on the other side holding their hands out to help me up. Um, and I needed a lot of that, and I needed to surrender to that, um, and uh, and allow them the gift of helping me, which is very important too.
Yeah, I love how you put that because I also believe that it is what we all want to do is help other people. I mean, that's one of the reasons that we're here to begin with. And if we're not allowed to do that, we can't grow either.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
a,
what?
it's a continuum. Being helped and helping.
Yes.
It there's there I've been so surprised along this journey of, and so grateful for the people and the experiences where I was the one maybe putting a lot of elbow grease and footwork into helping them, only to arrive at a point in my life where I just needed a lot of help, and to have that person uh, be the stable, sort of clear-minded person in my life, and then to observe that whole experience, that I was the one who maybe first helped them, and now here they are, and for me to be able to just fully accept all of that without any ego in the way, and just know that yes, I need this right now, and I need you, and thank God for all of it, is such an amazing experience.
Yeah. Is there anything specific that you would like to share about that? Anything in particular that really was a motivating factor, or that got you over the hump, so to speak, or really helped you a lot? Anything along those lines?
You mean in my overall life experience?
Yeah, yeah. When you were describing, the person that you helped, and then they helped you, is there anything
Oh, sure. Oh,
that
yeah.
stands out like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say like I had an experience with who I consider my closest friend in life, like a brother to me, and I'm older than him, and so I often take the role of big brother, and we fill the roles pretty greatly. Little brother, big brother. We both give each other hell, and we get into fights, and we love each other intensely, and the whole thing. And in any event, yeah, for the majority of our relationship in the beginning, I was there coaching him, and then I um, I had a lot of like, we'll just call it trauma, drum up, and I got to a pretty low point in life, and and we had a couple of, and it was a low point in life where I thought the things in my past gave me permission to be a victim again, and I couldn't shake out of it. I was just in a very dark place, and he sat across from me for a few times and had really tough conversations, not like, oh, I know this is so tough, I know this is so hard, but more the opposite, like, um, it clearly isn't your responsibility that these things happen to you, but your life is your responsibility. And so, what's the plan? And 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 when I rejected those answers in the beginning, him coming back firm and loving and not allowing me to. So that was a pretty eye-opening experience. Um, he was young. He's 10 years younger than me. So he's really like, in my egoic mind, I mean, how could somebody 10 years younger than me be coaching me? And when he said a few things to me and it clicked that I needed to change, everything sort of clicked in my head that I no longer needed to be afraid of accepting help from anybody, no matter what the age or what the situation was. It was just I knew right away that what he was telling me was going to help me, and that I became immediately grateful for it, and sort of shed that those hangups pretty quickly.
Wow, that's amazing. So that sounds like kind of a turning point for you.
It was in my I would say it was definitely a turning point in like on the road of spirituality, not just beginning it or any of that, but
Mhm.
we're an explorer in spirituality. It was such an amazing moment to just stop and just surrender to the whole thing.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite words is surrender.
Mm.
And it has so many subtle meanings, but maybe describe the way when you think of it or you're experiencing it. What is it? How would you describe it?
Um, that I no longer need to have anxiety over um, being the person I think other people want me to be,
Uh, yeah, yeah.
because it doesn't matter. I could just I could say, oh my God, I have this best friend. He's younger than me. I've been coaching him all throughout our relationship, but he's helping me. Oh my God, like what is the hang up? The hang up is all the cues that I'm given in life, um, and what I think other people want to see me as, which is just my ego doing what it does.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The ego is very good at doing what it does, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. It's so interesting because we have all this programming that we kind of take on as we grow up,
Mm.
all these expectations and it takes a long time to layer by layer shed each one. At least that's my experience of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ram Dass talks about we get these suits, and we're always uncomfortable in these suits that society or our family give us. But we get these cues where people come by us and they go, "Oh, what a wonderful suit you have! It's such a marvelous suit," and so it gets reinforced that I should feel guilty that I would want to take off this suit. When really, I mean, that's where the spiritual path starts, is when I start taking off this suit and trying on something else and using that as a vehicle for a little while. And when that sort of is no longer necessary, or I see something else I want to try, and then I do that. And that's really my experience with the spiritual experience, is that there are once I made a decision that I could explore and be who I was, I didn't have to remain static in that. It wasn't that I had to be this one thing. It was, okay, now I'm going to try this for a little while. I would say that, all that said, I did need at least a discipline in the beginning, to sort of ground me and keep me grounded, and I keep that same discipline. But in that discipline, I get to explore, and we should all explore who we are in life and have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, another one of my favorite words is possibilities. To me, there's just so much possibility that we all have available to us. But first, we need to do what you're describing, get to that point where we see it and we have the freedom, the emotional, the psychological freedom to explore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned what helps you in your discipline. Is that something that you'd like to describe to us? What works for you?
Oh, sure, a little bit. When I started this whole journey, I had to assess what I knew about spirituality or God with a capital G or a lowercase g or whatever. And it was that for a lot of my life, I took in the information, and I kept books around, and I did this and I did that. Um, but I never really delved into the practices involved in any sort of discipline. So I to make this work, I needed to have the experiences. I just didn't need to have something kicking around up here that, oh yes, I understand where Zen originates from, or you know what I mean. I needed the experience of it, and so where I found a pretty comfortable place was in exploring Buddhism, um, you opened with in the spirit of investigation, um, and how we describe what we do, and that's really what Buddhism is. There is a meditation component to all of Buddhism. But really, like, people will come up to me and ask me, like, what do you think about um, Christ, right? Whatever it is. And my only answer would be like, um, well, I could give a personal answer, but what I would tell the person is that, after I've investigated, or in the while investigating something like Christ, I'm going to come back with a wealth of information and feeling and emotion that's likely going to just absorb into my spiritual experience. So, like, what I think about Christ, it's not really about that. It's more like, if I have an open mind, I'm going into Christ to take to get something, to learn something for myself and for others, and no doubt it's there. It's just up to me. So that's kind of why I like Buddhism. Is there's really no opinion. It's all investigation.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. I hadn't heard it really described that way before. So that works for you because it's open, because it's about discovery, and it's very personal, or what? Why does that work for you so well?
Um, I think because, I mean, at its core, like, what Buddhism has taught me is what did the experience tell me? And so um, it's it this life and everything that's put in it is my curriculum. It's there for me to take and process and turn over and and arrive at whatever I need to arrive at. And that's the process that sort of Buddhism uh, uh, put in, uh, puts out for people. Um, and then there the concepts in Buddhism that are I don't want to use the word dogmatic, but the concepts in Buddhism that might be a little bit more dogmatic, like right action, right speech, right this and that and that. I don't really see a tremendous difference between those concepts and concepts that I could find in Christianity or Islam or Judaism or whatever the case. Where I do see a bit of a difference is, while other religions or ideas sort of uh, tell you that there is an ultimate higher power, and however they phrase it, whether it's a higher power that you fear, or a higher power full of love, or maybe in the Hindu tradition, many higher powers who represent different things. Buddhism doesn't have an opinion. So with Buddhism, it starts with yourself, with how I act, and and through meditation, how I observe both the actor and the actions. And my experience, like I've said before, is that I didn't need to um, manifest a higher power immediately in my life. But what Buddhism helped me do is understand um, that there is a greater force at play, and part of that force includes that we are all interconnected.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. I totally agree. I mean, we're all one.
Mm. Yeah.
And it's my belief. And yeah, I think all of these organized religions have something to offer, and they're actually pretty much underneath. I agree with that. Underneath, they all have the same message.
Yeah.
So I'm like you. I embrace pretty much whatever is good in all of them. I haven't done that much with Buddhism, so this is interesting to hear your take on it.
Yeah. I really love Ram Dass, and I still love listening to him. And um, when he went over to India early on, he had people start to follow him and come over to learn how to meditate. And he had one of those fellows come over, and his name escapes me. But in any event, and he asked Ram Dass how do you meditate? And he said he took him, and they went up to this clearing, and they sat, and he said, we're going to meditate as if we were Christ on the cross. And Ram Dass and this fellow seeker are both Jewish, and so they really had no experience with the Bible. But it's more of like the vehicle of like organized religion. It's really a vehicle, and if you drive the vehicle like a crazy person, then you get crazy results. But if you use it as a vehicle to get you from one point to the other, to maybe grow, then you're always going to get something. And so here's an idea of like meditate like Christ on the cross, to know that like all pain is temporary, and to know that even in the deepest, darkest point of your life, you are still held in immeasurable love. And the sacrifice that goes into like the thought of Christ on the cross, and the unconditional love is the reason why he's up there. So all religion can really be used for me as poetry.
Yeah, wow, that's really very moving. The way you described that, I hadn't heard that from Ram Dass.
Mm.
It's quite profound. Yeah, and anything that gets you into or out of your mind, so to speak, out of your thoughts, out of your head, and just like sometimes just kind of quiet. Where and if you can have that experience of feeling like all of those things you described, that's really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So the meditation group that you run every week, is it every week or every month? Every week.
Every week. Yep.
Every week. That's a lot. 2 times a week.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit much, but I have I have a plan in mind, and hopefully in both groups. In one group, I already have it being run by somebody else, and then hopefully in this next, we can get one of the members to actually run it soon. It just started, so we'll give it a little time.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. How long have you been doing that?
The one in New Milford, about 18 months, and the one in Monroe now about 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how many people do you usually? Right now, you're still doing it in person, or are you doing it?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we never stopped. All we did was just follow guidelines for spiritual gatherings, and so masks, and we take temperature, and we trace log, um, and and it's an optional meeting. So if you are higher risk, then we would say that it's probably not best for you to come. But um, yeah.
Yeah. So is it open to everyone?
Hmm. Oh yeah. So And I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic. I also have other issues that I've dealt with in life before that maybe precipitated drug addiction, and then after that, which are the results of drug addiction. And whatever the trauma is, though, the point I'm getting to is um, our group is open to everybody, because whatever the trauma is, it's likely exhibiting some sort of behavior that's causing what we'll call unnecessary suffering. So there's always going to be a pain in my life, and there's always going to be a little bit of suffering. Whether it's the work day is just getting to me, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Friday, and I'm just done with everything. There's a little bit of suffering there, though. But when I live in anger or envy or greed or hatred, when I live in these things, um, just think about the concept of anger, um, and staying in it for a couple days, and then how I feel after that. And so all of those things apply to everybody. And so what we get is a combination of some people have substance abuse history, and some people have eating issues, and some people have money issues. So whatever it is, that we're there to just talk about how we are exposing and overcoming these things.
That's awesome. So it's like a support group where you help each other. Um, like one night you might need to help, another night somebody else might, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if anybody's interested, they can call you, or is that what you?
Yeah, you can
Like,
you can give me a call or send me a text on my phone, and
okay.
then uh, we're under the title Refuge Recovery in New Milford, and then in Monroe,
Okay.
on Facebook, excuse me.
On Facebook, so they can find you on Facebook. Um, yeah. Well, here's the number to text, and then look under Refuge Recovery on Facebook. Is that
In
right?
New Milford and in Monroe, yeah.
In New Milford, Monroe. Okay. Yeah, so that sounds really good. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing that. It's such a necessary thing these days that we support each other, and you have so much to offer because you've lived through it and you have the experience, and you can share all of that with other people. So
Yeah, it's a great point, and I'll just say that that's why we're here. Is that whatever we've lived through, we're unique. I'm uniquely qualified to help somebody through drug addiction. Somebody with an eating disorder who's gotten through it is uniquely qualified to be there to support somebody who's going through it. Then, so whatever somebody who's a widower is uniquely qualified to then go help somebody else who's a widower. And so, whatever the trauma or the life experience is,
mm,
it's there for us to take and use and make me better and make you better, and then turn around and go help somebody with it.
yeah, yeah, and then pay it forward, right? Yeah, it's amazing that so many people hesitate. It's like I think that this whole thing about vulnerability, and a friend of mine started a Facebook group called Vulnerability is Cool, to allow people to open up, and once if you're vulnerable to someone, I find then they can be back. It just like takes it, like opens a door to real heart-to-heart communication and connection. And that's how I think it works. So it sounds like that's what you're up to as well. So yeah,
Yeah, not for the sake of it, but it's so true. The saying, like, when I take my mask off, it's easier, like you just said, for other people
yeah.
to take off theirs. Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll be in touch soon. All right.
Thank you,
Take
Kate.